Good morning children and welcome back to your chemistry class. So in this chapter of periodic table, till now we have finished off with all our periodic trends in the groups and periods. Today we are going to study about some physical and chemical properties of the elements of different groups. So to begin with, let us start with the study of alkali metals. Okay, so we start with study of alkali metals. Okay, so when I say alkali metals, which group am I talking about? I am talking about group 1. Which block is this group 1 found in? It is found in the S block. Do you remember all these things? Now, why do we call these elements present in group 1 as alkali metals? Because they easily combine with water to form strong alkalis. Okay, or we can say that the hydroxides, they are highly soluble in water and they form strong bases. So I write over here, they are called alkalis because they form strong bases when dissolved in water. I hope this is very clear. So now let us talk about what are those alkali metals I am talking about. Remember, I am talking about lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Okay, do you remember all these metals? Okay, so now let us talk about their physical properties first. Okay, so what are some of the physical properties of the elements of group 1A, which are also called as alkali metals? So first point, these alkali metals, they are shining white solids and they can be easily cut with a knife. So they are shining white solids and can be cut with a knife. Okay, so you know that sodium, potassium, this is generally that we talk about in the class. They can be easily cut with a knife, right? They are good conductors of heat and electricity. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. Then what else do we know? These alkali metals, they have less density. With the density of the alkali metal, it decreases with the increase in atomic number. So we can say that density of alkali metals, it is inversely proportional to what? Their atomic number. That is, the density of alkali metal, it decreases with the increase in atomic number, or the density of the alkali metal, it increases with the decrease in atomic number. Then next point, the melting and boiling point, what do we know about them? That they decrease as we go down the group. So melting and boiling points, they decrease as we move down the group. Clear? Now, for example, over here you can take, say, lithium. It boils at 1330 degrees, whereas cesium, over here this one, I'm talking about lithium, it boils at what? It boils at 1330 degrees, whereas cesium, it boils at 690 degrees Celsius. So what did I say? That as we go down, their melting and boiling point decreases. And what do you know about the size of the atoms? As we go down, the number of shells are increasing, and this depends upon the atomic radii, and therefore the size of the atoms of these alkali metal, therefore the size of the atoms of alkali metal is always largest in the period to whichever it belongs to. So we may say that the size of the atoms of alkali metals, right, is the largest in the period to which it belongs. So try to understand this, because every period it always starts with the alkali metals, right? Therefore alkali metals, they are always going to have the largest size than any other element in the period when we move from left to right. What do we know about top to bottom? As we move down, the atomic size increases. Why? Because the number of shells are increasing, atomic radii is increasing, therefore the atomic size also decreases. Point is clear? Now, so I was saying over here that they have a shining white solid and they can be cut with a knife. One exceptional example over here I would like you to write down, that cesium. This cesium, it is liquid at room temperature. Now two solids we already remember, you should be remembering. Mercury is a solid which appears as a liquid at room temperature, and cesium. So over here, cesium, which is an alkali metal, I should talk about it, not about mercury. So cesium is liquid at room temperature. This is one exception that we need to remember. So I hope the physical properties of alkali metals is clear. Now let us do the chemical properties of the alkali metals. Let us do their chemical properties now. So first point, their action of air. So on exposure to air, they react and they form their respective oxides. For example, sodium, it will combine with oxygen to form sodium oxide, right? If you balance, you get 2 over here, and this is when you balance, you write this is 2, so this is 2, then this becomes 4. This is a balanced equation. Okay. Similarly, potassium also can combine with oxygen to form K2O. Right. So this becomes 2, this becomes 4. So what do we know? That on exposure to air, they react to form their respective oxides. Next, their reaction with hydrogen. Their reaction with hydrogen. Let us see how do they react with hydrogen. Like example, sodium, it reacts with hydrogen to form sodium hydride, NaH. Okay, so this is how we balance it. Similarly, potassium can also combine with hydrogen to form KH. But remember, these two, they are highly unstable compounds. They are unstable compounds. Okay. Then we come to third type, the reaction with water. Reaction with water. As you know, these are reactive metals, and they react with water to form what? Alkalis, and therefore they are called as alkali metals. Also strong bases they form. So sodium combines with water or dissolves in water to form NaOH. This is the alkali we were talking about, or the hydroxide we were talking about, and hydrogen gas is given out. It is an exothermic reaction. Very violent, vigorous reaction takes place over here. Then even potassium. Okay, this is a balanced equation now. Right, now let us take another example like potassium. If we take potassium and drop it in the tub filled with water, it is an explosive, vigorous, violent reaction that takes place over here, forming KOH and H2. So if you balance it, you get this, right? And this is also an exothermic reaction. Then fourth one, reaction with halogens. You very well know what are halogens: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and you also know NaCl, KCl. So they easily react with halogens also. Thus over here they combine with the halogens. Let us see, Na combines with chlorine to form NaCl, right? Similarly, potassium can combine with bromine to form KBr, and so on. Let's balance the equation. 2 here, 2 here. This is 2 here, 2 here. So they are balanced equation. Thus, what do we conclude? That these alkali metals, they are very reactive, and to decrease their reactivity, they have to be first converted into amalgams. Now, what are amalgams? These are the alloys of mercury. So this was all about your alkali metals. Next to alkali metals are what? Next to your alkali metals, we go to group 2 in that same S block. What are they called as? They are termed as alkaline earth metals. Now, why are they called as alkaline earth metals? Because these metals also, they dissolve in water, but they form weak bases. Alkalis, they form strong bases, and they form the hydroxides of the weak bases. Clear? So let us recollect some of the metals found in group 2. They start from, say, beryllium, then we have magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium, and so on. Okay, so these are group 2 elements. Followed? Now let us study about their physical and chemical properties. Their physical properties. So these are usually solids, with its last member being a radioactive substance. Which one is that? Radium is a radioactive substance. Okay. So first point are usually solids. Then second point, they have 2 electrons in the outermost shells. Hence they can lose these electrons easily, and they behave like good conductors of heat and electricity. So we can say are good conductors of heat and electricity. Next, what do we know about the density? Density of the alkali metal decreases with the increase in atomic number. Whereas in alkaline earth metals, they are denser than the alkali metals present in the same period, right? Why? Because they are more closely packed due to smaller in size in comparison to the alkali metals. So we can say are denser than alkali metals as their size is smaller than the alkali metals. Clear? Then fourth point, what do we know about the atomic radii? The atomic radii of alkaline earth metals, it is large but smaller, as I wrote over here, smaller than the alkali metals but bigger than the other elements that are present in the same period. Okay, so their atomic radii is smaller than the alkali metals but larger than the other elements present in the same period. You getting my point? Now, what do we know about the atomic radii down? As we move down, what do we know? Atomic radii increases. Atomic radii increases down the group. Clear? So this much is very clear to all of you. Now let us talk about their chemical properties. Their chemical properties. Right? So the first point, on exposure to air, they react to form their respective oxides and peroxides. That is, magnesium, it can combine with oxygen to give you magnesium oxide. Okay, and similarly calcium can combine to give you calcium oxide. But at the same time, okay, barium can combine with oxygen to give you barium oxide. This is your peroxide. These are your oxides and this forms your peroxides. Okay, similarly your radium can also combine with oxygen and they form radium peroxide. Then with the reaction with hydrogen, they easily combine with hydrogen, but again they form an unstable compound. What is that? The calcium hydride can be formed, or even barium can be treated with hydrogen to form barium hydride. But again I say these are quite unstable compounds. They do not stay in the nature. Then coming to the third type of the reaction. How do they react with water? Now they do not react with cold water, remember, they react with hot water to form their respective hydroxides. Why? Because cold water, the alkali metals are going to combine and therefore they form strong bases. But here as you go this from left to right, what happens? The reactivity will gradually decrease. So over here it will not react with the cold water but it reacts with the hot water. So magnesium combines with hot water or the warm water, you can say, forming magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen is given out, and this is a weak alkali. Okay, the alkali earth metals, they form strong alkalis like KOH, NaOH, they are strong alkalis. And here like calcium can also combine with water, and what it is going to form? Calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas will be given out. This is also your weak alkali, right? Then they also can combine with halogens. They can also combine with halogens, like for example magnesium can combine with chlorine to form magnesium chloride. Okay, similarly calcium can combine with chlorine to form calcium chloride, and so on. So we see that these are also reactive metals but not as reactive as alkali metals. Clear? So this was all about the study of alkaline earth metals. The fourth one is the Study of zero group. So what elements are found in the zero group? The inert gases, that is your helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. What are these? These are all your zero group elements, right? Where are they found? They are found in P block. Where are they found? They are found in P block. What is the peculiarity about them? That they have no valency. Why they do not have any valency? Because the outermost shell is complete. Because their outermost shell is complete, or we can say they follow the octet rule. Okay, then except helium, helium has 2 electrons in the outermost shell and therefore it follows the duplet rule. Okay, whereas all others, they follow the octet rule, and therefore I said because the outermost shell is complete, so they have no valency, they have no combining capacity. Okay, combining capacity, and therefore they do not react with any other element, and therefore what are they termed as? They are called as noble gases, or they are also termed as inert gases. Is this point clear? Then they do not react under any ordinary conditions, but yes, they definitely have the individual property. They individually exhibit lot of properties, but they do not react with other elements. Followed? They definitely have, under special conditions, they form coordinate compounds as well as complex compounds, but this only happens when under special conditions. Otherwise they are just inert in nature. So that is all. We wind up with the chapter. The chapter is over. That's all for the day. Thank you.